And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you're listening. It's Wednesday, June 11th. It's 2025. Hope you're having a good day. I'll be on a Delta flight tonight. Usually I go Thursday night, going Friday. I'll be on in studio at Fox tomorrow with my good friend Charles Payne in the 2 p.m. hour. I don't usually leave my screens during market hours, but I go in and I'm out, in and out. I think 99% of the time I'm in front of the screens 9:30 to 4 p.m. Seriously. And if not, I got my phone. I have my phone fixed to where I see everything. It's one of those things. Hey, in case you don't know, this is serious talk on everything that affects you. We'll do markets. We'll do the economy. We'll do jobs, your industry. We'll do the China deal. Ooh, I think we have a China deal. I think. And anything else that comes to mind. You know, the debt and the deficits. And I'm not going to mention who, but I'm going to tell you about a long-time conservative that has just thrown in the towel and entered the tank and all that. And if you don't get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our Twitter feed, which is now X. And if you don't follow us on X, you should. And if you'd like to email us, we just want you to be nice. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is be nice. Speaking of being nice, I guess Elon Musk apologized to the president. He didn't say I'm sorry, but he said something to the effect of, yeah, he shouldn't have done what he did. He went overboard or something like that. And the president came back and said, oh, that was nice. And I think what you have is, you know, they talk about strange bedfellows. I think President Trump realized this guy's worth hundreds of billions and gave tons of money for the Republicans. And I think he realized there's a lot of legislation out there on his businesses. They're not stupid. Anyway, let's move on. Let me read something to you. Are you ready? Because we're going right into the markets. Tesla. I'm just reading word for word. Tesla has over 60% downside from current prices over the next 12 months, with quarter two deliveries expected to be down over 20% year over year, says, I'm not going to mention a name, I'll just say the company, a Wells Fargo analyst, and gives Tesla a $120 price target. Tesla closed today at $327. So we don't know if it's going to go to 120. We don't even know if it's going to go lower. We don't know if it's going to go higher. We always let the market decide. I'm always amazed. And this is not a rub. This is their job. This is not putting them down. It is their job. I've been always amazed about people that want to tell you where a stock's going to be a year from now, or the market's going to be a year from now. I saw somebody on TV today that is so sure we are going to skyrocket. But I can tell you, just 2 months ago, he was on TV. He was constipated because everything, he stopped out of it. My favorite was the semis. That's when the semis were crashing. It's amazing. We've come off a meltdown and a crash where people are getting their arses kicked, and you can see how distraught they are on TV, and now they're giggly. They have already forgotten what they went through when they were so sure of themselves in the beginning of the year. Now they're so sure, oh, we got another 10, 20%. Oh, Tesla's going to 1,000, Bitcoin's going. It's amazing to watch. And notice I don't name names, but it really is. Ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, let me tell you how I work. When I do something, I'm already complaining to myself. I'm already doubting when I do something. My thought process, whatever I do is not going to work, and if it does work, terrific. And that's kept me in great stead, especially in the bear markets. And I was just amazed how confident this person was on Tesla, even though he was bullish as all hell at 488 and Tesla's at 326. If I was confident as all hell of a stock at 488 and I still own it at 326, I am not going to be smiling and telling you, oh, it's gone. Do you get my point? Welcome to my world. It's quite the interesting business. It really is. But I bring this Tesla thing up because I just find it so interesting how these analysts work with their targets and this and that. And God bless themselves, they really put their you-know-what's on the line. But if Tesla goes to 500, what is you get my point? I just saw, United Health. 4 or 5 analysts came out and went from a buy to a hold after it dropped from 606 down to 300. I feel for them. Number one, you're never going to see Gary running a stock down from 600 down to 300. Muy importante not to do that. I just find it quite. So just letting you know, we follow what analysts do. We don't pay attention to what they do. Does that make any sense? So we'll follow this. I'll actually put this in a little file of my little analyst calls, and every month I'll go back to them to see, because I have to bring another one up. And this one, I think, is easily more important. You know who Jeffrey Gundlach is? He is one of the most, I believe, to be one of the most brilliant people on the bond markets. He has a huge bond. I think he manages bazillions of dollars in the bond market. And he came out today and scared the willies out of me. Jeffrey Gundlach, who is known to be brilliant, and I don't know about his calls too much, but I'm going to quote, "A reckoning is coming for U.S. government bonds." A reckoning. Do you know what a reckoning would be? Well, we closed today at 4.412%. What do you think a reckoning would be? 6, 7, 8%? Because if that occurs, 2 words. Holy crap! But instead of predicting that's going to happen, we'll interpret. And here's how we'll look at it. The 10-year closed at 4.412. We use the 10-year more than anything. A break above 4.629 would be negative, and that would lean towards trouble. A further break above 4.809 on the 10-year. Oops. And then 4.997, which was the high, that was in November of 23. Late October, early November. If that gets taken out to the upside, we'll be talking about uh-oh moments. Then you have to go all the way back, and I'm not making this up, on the 10-year, to 2007, when we were at 5.316% on the 10-year. And then you got to go back to 1999, when you were 6.823 on the 10-year. And then 1994, you were 8.162 on the 10-year. Is that what he's saying? I sure hope not. Anyway, we just thought we'd start the show with that on 2, and we'll keep a close watch on this, knowing I don't know who this analyst is on Tesla, and I don't know what he's had on Tesla before. He may have been bearish for the last 5 years and been wrong. But then there's Jeffrey Gundlach. But we just gave you some very important areas to pay attention to. Very important areas to pay attention to. That'll dictate everything when it comes to the 10-year. Up next, the markets. The China deal. Whatever else, I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. Okay, so as you know, we fancy ourselves as unbiased, no agenda, no ulterior motive. We're in nobody's camp. We had somebody accusing us yesterday of kissing Trump's fat arse, he said. This while we've been hammering Trump on his debt and deficit spending. Interesting, huh? Amongst other things. While praising him for what he's done at the border, and regardless what the media tells you, getting tough in California and anywhere else need be. By the way, I saw some media out today saying, oh, LA's very big, so it's only certain parts. Oh, so only there's certain parts that these criminals are destroying property and throwing bricks at police. Oh, it's only small part. Do you believe a reporter would say that? Oh, don't worry, it's only downtown. Really? Oh, thank you. It's only a small part that they're destroying the place and threatening lives and almost killing police. It's only a small part. It's amazing. These journalists suck so bad. By the way, it was CNN. Only a small part. Do you notice none of that's going on in Florida? Do you know why? Do you know why there has been craziness in the colleges here? Do you know why? Because they ain't going to screw around with you. You want to do that? You're toast. You're arrested. You're indicted. You're tried. You're found guilty. If you're found guilty, you're gone. And the best part of what Trump is doing, it's going to serve notice to people. You want to do that? You're going to get a rubber bullet in your forehead. And by the way, a bunch of these people that care so much are out there knocking out the glass windows of Apple and stealing stuff out of Apple. Yeah, that's right. That's who we are. Anyway, see, I took Trump's side. I don't take this side on this China deal. I thought it was, I think there's nothing there. I think it was a matter of them coming down off the mountain. I think it's just a de-escalation of the trade war. I see a lot of people that love Trump saying, oh, you see, there's no inflation because of the tariffs. Well, there is. They took all the tariffs down. But I believe we're being told from these tariffs that there's going to be 55% on a bunch of things out of China. Why isn't the market crashing? Well, they exempted a crap load of stuff. Apple's not going to be tariffed. You know how much comes from China for them? Auto parts they exempted. At least the last thing I heard. I don't think that. I think it's an oversell. I think it's let's get the hell out of the way. Let's say it's good. I think there's some things to it that are better. But it's. I don't think we're talking needle moving here. I would like to. I think the 10 on the 10 scale is the getting rid of tariffs. I think a 3 is the trade deals. Let's get some deals done. Terrific. Let's move on. I'm just letting you know my opinion. All less than meets the eye. I think it's good. I guess UK says they're going to do some things with some jets. I know Saudi Arabia said they're going to buy some Boeing jets. That's all great news. I'm cool with that. I just think we went through a bunch of crap for no reason. That's just my take. I'm sure people agree. Some people disagree. That's just my take. What else? So at 125 today, the Dow was 43,115. At 220, it was 42,738 and closed at 42,865. Do you know what happened at 125? And I didn't see any reason. I haven't seen any news on it. Oil prices went vertical. That's what happened. Direct correlation between the Dow that was 200 and some odd points higher and oil prices. NASDAQ finished down 99 and NASDAQ at 125, if I get my 5-minute bar correct, was 19,750, closed at 19,615, dropped 135 points. So we'll see. We don't want oil prices spiking, I can tell you that. It's cost of energy. And a lot of products go up in price, so we'll see. That was the story, but the Dow only finished down 1 today. Stars of the show today, United Health had a little bounce for almost $7. Goldman Sachs was up $9 today and broke above a little range. We'll see if that sticks, especially with the market getting a little icky towards the day. Caterpillar, a little bit above range. That helped. And IBM, I have to tell you, IBM broke out on Monday. We told you. And it's up another, 10 points. It's about 4%. On 5% drop in earnings and 1% growth of sales. But I guess things are supposed to get better, and maybe there's an artificial intelligence component in there. All I can tell you, IBM, strong. Microsoft hit a high today also. That one gapped up on earnings and doing good. And it's up a little bit more in the aftermarket. And what's helping that is Oracle in the aftermarket closed at 176. I have it at 188 in the aftermarket on their earnings, up about $12. So a little jello moving on the plate today. I can tell you a lot of Megacap tech came in. Amazon was down 4 and change. Meta, which has been strong, was down 8 and change today. Costco down 11. Apple remains in a bearish phase. You know, we talked to you about bear market maps. It continues, Apple, to trace out a bear market map, descending below a descending 50-day moving average. Amazingly so. I don't know what's driving that. All I can tell you is Apple remains weak. And by the way, closed below a big number, a $200 number today. Strength was in oil stocks, though they're just recovering. And just overall, there was some good movers today. Netflix bounced off of moving averages. GE Vernova bounced off moving averages. Spotify bounced off moving averages. By the way, they had pretty good moves also off of those moving averages. Broadcom, which did not act great in semiconductor land, had a good day. That's probably the strongest semiconductor now. Up next, what else we got for you? We'll go through it. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. By the way, at one time today, let's see, 42,738. The Dow was down 128 points after being up much better, but came back towards the close. That's good to see. The NASDAQ at one time today hit 19,551. Really? So it was down about 160, only finished down 99, but on the icky side. The very strong semiconductors were up much better early, but finished meekly. The SOX was down about 10 points. The star of the show there is KLAC. Man, oh man, that thing broke above 810, 811 on Monday. It's 872 already. Dang. That's a pretty good move. But let me be clear on the semiconductors. Hope you're listening. 3 stocks make up 43% of the SMH. That's the main exchange traded fund for semiconductors. 3 stocks. NVIDIA, Broadcom, and Taiwan Semi. As I go through my screens, I have this one column of semiconductor stocks, about 60 there. There's more than 60, but these are main ones. Most of them look like crap. So it really is a narrow thing, but I got to tell you, this Broadcom AVGO, it was acting really strong before earnings. They sold it off on earnings, but I just thought it was just extended and just had a very good day today, even while the market was getting hit. I don't own it as of this second. AVGO. We'll see if I decide to do anything with it. And by the way, good to see Oracle, which was very weak, coming on much better, up about 7% in the aftermarket. I haven't looked at earnings yet, but you know what? Doesn't matter what I think. It's what the market thinks. $1.70, revenues rose. I got news for you. Earnings were up single digits. Sales were up single digits. No, sales were up 11%. So sales had a better, sales accelerated a little bit. So that's helping out as we move into tomorrow. But just a wicked, wicked day. We'll see what they decide tomorrow. We had an inflation number today. Good. And the best thing I can tell you is the 10-year yield dropped 0.62 to 4.412. The 30-year, which was over 5%, is down to 4.9. Cool. Cool. Gold and silver. That's been in play right now. Silver, little pullback here. Broke out a few days ago. Gold is just sitting tight for the last few weeks. Probably going to break out again. The gold miner has been in pullback mode. Probably going to rally if gold breaks out again. We'll let you know. And the AI. Some of the AI is weak. But I have to tell you, when you look at GEV, again, this is this energy, what they're going to do with power systems and all that crap. Today, the nuclear, just a word to the wise on the nuclear. I am never going to buy from my clients zero sales companies. I don't care. But the nuclear went nuclear today on, I guess, this OKLO. Had some defense. They didn't say anything about a number or a contract. All I can tell you, it had a big day, up 29%. All I can tell you, you're paying $9.5 billion for a company with no sales right now. Excuse me. And that always scares. And by the way, that's how Warren Buffett thinks. I'm no Warren Buffett, of course. But he'll always do that. What, I'm going to pay $9.4 billion for no sales? No, thank you. But as always, you get to decide, and I do recognize markets do have themes. And when themes get going, you will get frothy moves in you name it. That's how it works. And right now, nuclear and now quantum lit up again today as the CEO of NVIDIA came out and said it's close at hand, whatever the hell that means. Other areas of the market, most retail looks like crap. Big biotech looks like crap. A lot of the medical looks like crap. Home builders can't get going. The transports, which are off the floor, are still way down from the highs of December 17,845. You close at 14,9 today, down 243 points. And that's quite the interesting. I don't have one leading stock in there. I will tell you I noticed this, and this is 1 + 1 = 2. If oil prices go vertical, what's going to head lower? Well, Alaska Air, down 4.7% today. How about Allegiant, down 5.96 today? How about United Airlines, down 5.49% today? That's how that works. How about Delta, which I'm flying tonight, down 4.86%. So airlines took it on the chin. And as I've told you before, I haven't invested in an airline stock, I think, since JetBlue came public in early, was it 2001 or 2? And I made decent money on it, if I recall. But I haven't bought one since because it's just a weird industry, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of those weird industries. I heard somebody say, why would I invest in an industry where you pay more from going to New York to Boston than New York to California? It's an interesting way of looking at it. What else? Just tidbits time. Ford, they're losing $5 billion this year on electric vehicles, 44,000 on every electric vehicle. Just letting you know. I want you to remember that going forward. They were forced to do it by government. You do know that. Apple's bought back almost $700 billion in stock over the last 10 years. That's more in market cap than 491 stocks in the S&P 500. Wow, huh? Almost $700 billion. That helped their earnings per share also, which maybe the stock is reacting to now. We'll see. Don't know. Wealth taxes. Norway did a wealth tax. They said it was going to bring in $146 million in yearly tax revenue. Individuals worth $54 billion left the country, and they lost $594 million in yearly tax revenue. Wealth tax. You know, the wealth tax that's been proposed by Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Some states. Stupid. Tidbits. Do you know that the 2025 UN Human Rights Council is now in session? The UN's Human Rights Council, Cuba, China, Sudan, Qatar. Catching my drift? Do you want me to name the rest? Tidbits. $4.4 billion of aid for poverty relief in Haiti since 2010 has now gone missing. Our $4.4 billion. This was in order to that U.S. aid thing. Oh, by the way, remember how this administration went after U.S. aid to claw back money from them? They got every dime. What would I tell you about overselling? A lot of overselling going on. If they put me in charge of Doge, maybe I would have got nothing done, but I would have been in front of the TV showing everybody everything. Just remember what they're doing here. 4.4 trillion spending in 19. They're doing over 7 this year. They complained about Biden for 4 years with his $2 trillion deficits. We're going to have more than $2 trillion going forward, thanks to the Republicans. But don't worry, they care. Up next, whatever else we got for you. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. I went to the urologist today. You know men, when you get in your 50s and 60s, you know what goes on, right? The big thing is the PSA test to tell you whether you got prostate thingamabob, the C word. So I had a past urologist. I did the test twice, and no, you're fine. So I go to the new guy, and he goes, I want you to take another test. I go, why? Well, you went from a 2.8 to 3.4. I go, but the last guy said everything's fine. He goes, well, I think it's still fine, but you still went up. But that can change and go back down. And the number 4, that's the deciding number. Great. Man, oh man. Age, baby. That's all I can tell you. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I keep in shape. And you just never know. No, I did not say I had the big C. But he wants me to take another test on Monday. And then hopefully nothing going on. Remember my family had it, and I immediately called them up. Yeah, I said, yeah, what happened with me was I ended up with a 6 and a 7. The good news is they explained to me this Gleason score, that it was nothing, and they did radiation, got rid of it, and no trouble since. And then they were comparing it to what Biden has, where it's already spread, and the Gleason number is way up there, which really does call into question, as President of the United States for 4 years, aren't you getting the major league medical care? And at that age, part of that is the testing for that? Shouldn't his doctors be fired or sued? No, I guess you can't sue. Anyway, just letting you know. Every now and then we'll talk a little personal to you. Men, go get your PSA tests. As I mentioned earlier, you have an analyst that is very confident that Tesla that closed at $327 is going down 60% with a $120 target in a year. I have another one that says it's going to 500. And why? Robo-taxis. So just letting you know that Elon Musk said on X that Tesla plans to begin offering rides to the public and robo-taxis. We're being super paranoid about safety, so the date could shift, he says. First Tesla that drives itself from factory end of the line all the way to the customer house is June 28th. He does say he's known for over-promising and under-delivering, so he's being careful about this. He thinks things are different. He thinks this thing's going to be big. Alphabet's Waymo has offered autonomous rides with a fleet that Uber CEO said is now busier than over 99% of all drivers in Austin, Texas, in terms of completed trips per day. I got to tell you something. I am never getting in a car that does not have a driver. I don't give a crap. Ain't ever happening. I was in a Tesla the other day that was self-driving. I let it self-drive, but I was there. But by the way, it was pretty cool. It did all the things it needed to do. It turned. When it was getting close to a truck that was on the side, it moved. So I guess this stuff works, but I got a news for you. I ain't ever going into a car that doesn't have a driver. I am sorry. And I don't know how anybody does it, especially does the Waymos go on highways? Does it go on busy streets where cars are coming and going? I'm sorry, I don't have courage. I'm never skydiving. The last time I went up in these parasailing behind a boat, a big thing of wind hit, and I thought I was a goner. That was the last time I'm doing that. I'm not big into risk. Risk management for your handsome buffed host. Just letting you know. Those of you who have the Waymos, do me a favor and email me and let me know if they go on highways and busy streets and all that. I'd like to know that. Actually, I can probably look that up. Anyway, so just giving you an idea what goes on in my industry. You got one guy 500. By the way, the woman with the ARC fund says I think it's going to 15. No, she said 2,000. So you have one person saying 120 down 60%, the other one saying it's going up sixfold. What do we say? Watch the stock. You know how you know it has a chance to go to 2,000? Well, it first got to go above 488, the old high. Do you want to know whether it can go down to 120? Well, it first has to break below 300, and then it has to break below 250. Then it has to break below 214, which was the low of the mini crash. That's how we do it here. I don't know how people can predict. By the way, it hit $102. I didn't realize this. January of 23. I didn't realize that. Tesla was down to $100 in January of 23. Dang. Since it's one of the most asked stocks of us, we'll keep covering it. Number one ask is Nvidia still, which still has done nothing in a year and is still down about 8% from the highs of 6 months ago, while the semis have been doing better. If it ever does break out, you will hear from me. All right, you have a great evening. I'll be on Fox Business 2 p.m. tomorrow. Check that out. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like we do. It's quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You'll feel better. I promise. Stay well. Be well. Appreciate you always trusting us. Have a great one, everybody. Good night.